So, right, so let me go ahead and show this to you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I'm in back. I'm a folk hero today. All right, cool.
Maybe. We'll see.
Hopefully. And we shall name this land, this land. Mm-hmm.
Is that like people naming things, you know, things which mean like, you know, creature or, you know, I don't know, or things like that?
Yes. And curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
I don't know. I don't know what IDET is thinking. Like, what's that about the science? Like, expect me to know science?
I'm a doctor, not a plumber.
What?
I'm an engineer, not a doctor.
Okay. Tell me what you're trying to say.
Me?
I'm a doctor, not a physicist.
Both of you.
Well, I've worked as an engineer for many years.
No.
Anyway.
I mean, why you think obviously you're trying to say something other than you worked at this and you worked at this. Come on, what is it?
I do believe that the world, I think, overwhelmed us, and I didn't really see anything that IDET could use, and I know that magic doesn't work on our world, so it would be pointless to bring back anything magical.
Well,
what does that have to do with being a doctor?
I mean, I'm not a physicist, Chen Wei.
You said you were a plumber.
Well, I know. I was.
I think he was being
physicist makes
it's
more
apples
sense.
and apples. It's Macintosh and
I
Fuji's.
know in your language, physicist and plumber both start with the letter P, but they're not the same thing.
You're absolutely correct. It's a Macintosh versus a Fuji apple. Yes, they are both sciences, but no, they are not the same.
Plumber is a science? Okay, I'll take your word for it.
My father seemed to think so.
Plumbing is a science.
Oh, you said plumbing. I thought you said plumber for some reason.
Nope, plumbing. It's fluid dynamics, so that would be a science.
Absolutely.
It is like when my mother said, "You're a programmer. Why don't you know all these languages?" I says, "Because they are languages." I mean, a
know every language?
is a complete language.
Yeah.
Fortran is not the same thing as Pascal.
Hey,
correct.
I guarantee you, I know more Atari Basic than you do.
Very good.
I like Virtual Basic because it's like building a computer program with Tinker Toys. It really is. You connect things together and make a program.
At one point, I was querying the database and using a report writer, writing HTML to produce reports that look like web pages.
Okay, sure.
I hope that's how
everybody thought it was magic. Yeah.
These buildings, are these pictures of what we are seeing?
Yes, except it's dark.
Okay. That looks like a stage
Can we like
church.
see some of this, like darkened versions of this?
Yeah, like they, when they realized.
Well, you said there were street lamps.
They, first of all, like the last thing they did was that they set off, like a bunch of,
flares.
flare, like set a flare off or something like that to try to illuminate the area, take pictures, and then let it roll back through.
So you said there were street lamps, but there's no illumination?
The saw things that kind of look like they might have been street lamps, but none of them were on. There's no illumination going on. Yeah, it looks deserted as far as they could tell.
Judging by the architect,
go, Jason.
oh, thank you. Judging by the architecture, this looks possibly Ukrainian, maybe, because that really looks like a stave church. So that would be, I would say that this would be like almost like Roux in origin. I mean, the cross on top. Can we see that? Looks like an Russian Orthodox cross.
So you think
we're in the picture?
It's in Russia?
Yes.
Very possibly. That does look very Russian Orthodox, though. But it's a medieval style of building, so I'm thinking that this could be Kievan Roux.
We let Petrova go back too early.
No,
they look like they've been boarded up in a lot of ways, or just very hard to tell.
I mean, either way, it's cool.
Could this be that place that place in your world where the nuclear reactor blew up?
Oh.
The what blew up?
Chernobyl?
The nuclear reactor, yeah, Chernobyl.
No, Chernobyl was modern.
Okay.
Site.
Well, wouldn't people have not every house is modern in a modern place, right?
Well, Chernobyl was a city that was built around the reactor being built.
Yes.
So it was relatively modern.
Yes. You would see these sorts of buildings maybe in the more rural
areas.
Russia.
Okay. So
out in Siberia.
So maybe it's just maybe they just aren't using the building because they're old buildings and they move somewhere else, and they're not building new stuff there.
Or we could be looking at the 15 or 1600s.
Or the 900s, or the 1000s, the 1100s.
They all sort of run together, basically.
Well, there's a lot going on during that time.
Yes.
But, I mean...
And, I guess we should probably make a couple of lists of words to try to figure out if people speak, like Russian or whatever the other ones are. You said Ukrainian, right? That's a language?
Yes,
I don't speak Ukrainian and Russian.
Right,
well,
but you go with your computers and you make a list of words and you see which list of words you can read when you get to the other side.
Nic znаю.
Do свидания.
Nic znаю means I don't know.
Okay.
So, what any specific equipment you're going to bring with you?
Well, it looks like we're going to bring some nice fluffy jackets and pants and warm boots and extra socks.
You said pressure was low and oxygen was low.
Yeah.
Yeah, the atmospheric testing showed a low level of oxygen.
So
as in mountaintop level low, or as in something's wrong with the planet level low?
Okay, I don't know how to deal with that last part.
Okay.
You're saying what is there more hydrogen? I'm asking. Is there something else replacing it than the?
No, I'm asking is this within the parameters of what you'd expect if it's just like a mountain or something?
It's possible that this could be a high altitude location.
Yeah, if it's above like
or some such
6,000 feet, you'll notice some thinner atmosphere. But
yes.
Trust me, at 8,000 feet, it screws me up. So
better bring supplemental oxygen.
Yeah, and environment suits just in case.
Oh yes, always environment suits. Get new ones.
Yeah.
Replace all the equipment that we lost.
The pressure
is lower.
Actually higher than.
Oh, higher.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So air pressure is higher, but oxygen levels are lower.
Right.
How much higher?
Not substantially. It's not like a high pressure type situation.
Okay.
So it's just since it's higher, that would prove that it's not a mountain unless the base level is different from Earth.
You can't really say that because it snows and barometric pressure goes up and down no matter what you do. So
yeah, right.
No matter where you are, no matter where you go, there you are. So
of course.
Right.
Oh,
that's all over
okay.
I mean,
Right.
the snow could mean it's on the top of a mountain, but then maybe the base air pressure is higher.
Anyone ever done any? Okay, just a sec. I gotta check something before I ask this.
Actually, could this,
No.
if this was like a mountain on the Norlanders world, would that be consistent?
Well, the Norlanders, their geology and geography is very close to Earth prime.
Okay.
The thing that makes them different is primarily there was a plague that killed everybody south of Sweden.
Okay, I was thinking about what the one was with the high gravity. I may be thinking of something else.
I mean, we had one that was high gravity. I'm just trying to think of.
Should we pack skis and snowshoes or snowmobiles?
Well, it definitely looks like you could cross country on this.
At least snowshoes.
We'll pack some cross country skis and poles.
And of course, you could always go the whole James Bond, spiky thing like from the movies. The spy love
we
all
probably
that stuff on the slopes.
Want to have like some way of saving people who fall through ice into ponds.
So we'll get standard climbing gear and stuff like that. We'll add snowshoes and cross-country skis. I think we'll swap out excess vehicle
skis unless we put them in the vehicle. Yeah. How is our flying vehicle? With the spaceship engine in it? How's that doing?
It's still not quite ready.
All right.
You guys didn't spend that much time at the last. I was expecting it to be ready, but you didn't spend as much time at the last adventure that I expected. But it's close. It's getting close.
So we'll take the I can't think of the name of it now.
We still have the flight pack.
The truck. We'll take the truck, the big truck.
You mean the Summers ATV?
Summers, thank you. I kept thinking
the Summers.
I couldn't think of the word.
And remember, you do have the helicopter and
we're
the
leaving
stuff that you took to the world that had Estes Valley. I mean, all that equipment is still yours.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna leave the helicopter behind, and we'll take and the motorcycles and the ATV and everything, and we'll take a couple of snowmobiles, I guess, just in case.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, what I say to the party, what's the best thing we can use to fish out somebody who falls through the ice into a pond?
Rope.
Fishing pole.
A big net. A submarine.
Harpoon.
Harpoon.
Well,
you could get a pole
maybe a net
with a loop at
something
the end.
throws a
The person
net.
puts their arms through the loop, and then you pull them up.
It's a rope. Yeah.
Yeah.
A weighted rope.
Yeah. Let's get such a cord. I mean, you'd just be a pole with a rope on it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But Mike isn't wrong because, if you're in a situation where you're talking about stuff breaking through ice, then you might want something that could be equipped with a pivot point, like a long pole, so you could put the rope around somebody and then lift them up, because pulling them out might be difficult.
If they fall into water, they're going to be quite a bit heavier because all their gear they're going to be full of water.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So
we'll pack one of.
That.
I'm going to put that on my sheet, Bruce.
Okay.
Pole with rope loop.
So yeah, cold weather stuff
All right.
and the ability to traverse cold weather terrain.
All
Which
right.
we're down to 4, so
Right.
it'll be easier. We have more room in the cab. We'll
You're
leave
going to
behind
have
the
to bring
ambulance.
supplemental oxygen.
Right.
Yes.
So we'll bring breathing apparatuses and tanks, and then we'll add some larger, like the bigger cylinders to refill off of.
And how since there is oxygen in the air, even though it's lower percentage, can these environment suits like do something, like concentrate that so we don't need to take such big actual supplies?
There's a
oxygen.
machine that is electric that will concentrate oxygen.
Often used by older people or people with emphysema.
I actually have one, but because my oxygen drops at night, so
Okay.
and it's hooked up to my CPAP. But it's just a box about 2 foot by 1.5 feet wide, and that's
just wear it on your back.
So how would this work? Would it actually like condense the oxygen and put it in a tank that we could use on our suits?
It runs and produces a higher concentrated oxygen. So it extracts oxygen from the air. It pulls in air, puts out oxygen.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So can we have one of
Nitrogen
those
is a
in our
larger
suits?
molecule than O2. So therefore, if you have a filter that's small enough, with pores small enough, then you should be able to filter out some of the nitrogen and pull the oxygen through, therefore enriching the air.
Right, but what I'm saying, can we have one of those like inner environment suits so the suits do not have to use like a tank more than necessary?
Well, I imagine the suits have somewhat of a rebreather built into it, so it scrubs the CO2 off of the oxygen, kind of like the divers use so it doesn't make a bunch of bubbles and they don't have to carry air tanks. But that's still a limited amount of time before you have to change the filters and make it usable again.
Right, but I should say, Chen Wei is asking for a device that will provide a limited amount of enriched air.
They do make.
I mean, I understand having to change a filter, but I'm saying at least make it so we don't need to use a tank of oxygen, or at least only a tank of oxygen is our backup and not our main use.
So, they do make a portable oxygen one. It is. Hang on, finding it. Here we go. It's Yogi Big by Boo Boo Small, by Boo Boo Wide. So that's essentially what it looks like. It's like a little backpack purse-sized thing.
Right then.
I don't know how long they work for, so give me a second to do some research.
Now, our summers is also sealed.
Yeah, yes. It's amphibious and whatnot. So,
all righty. All right. Yeah.
I guess it just runs as long as it's got battery or power to the battery. It uses a lithium-ion battery, so it doesn't say exactly how long or how much it puts out.
All right.
Yeah, they
86 to 97% on all settings. So
okay.
Yeah, they have a device which is called the Mile High oxygenation system, which called Mile High training, and it basically is something about looks to be about the size of, you know, like a tool cabinet, you know,
All right.
and it basically is for a house. So,
Oh, all right.
and it's, you know, it's small, relatively small house, and it basically gives you sea level oxygen at a
Higher altitude.
high altitude location.
Okay.
So this says it produces up to 2 liters per minute.
So we can recharge our oxygen tanks when we're during the night.
Well,
When we're in the
no,
sun.
because
No.
that oxygen tanks are usually pure oxygen.
Right.
Okay, well, this is simply just taking, you know, adding more oxygen to existing air.
Right.
Okay.
Which is 70%. Is going to be at least 70% nitrogen.
All right. So these are things we carry with us then?
Well, they're in the vehicle.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
in the vehicle. Okay.
Well, you can have concentrators you can carry with you as well,
Sure.
is what I'm saying. But you would still want some bottles of, you know, at least the basic suit oxygen for a couple hours in case your battery goes dead.
Right.
Looking for runtime on this.
Okay.
Runs off of AC or DC. 3 hours per battery from fully discharged. 2 to 3 hours per. Oh, that's the charge time. Well, it doesn't say how long it runs. 39 decibels. Oh, single battery lasts 4.7 hours.
Yeah, the
All
smallest one I'm seeing is 18 pounds. It's, you know, I won't worry about the price on it.
All right.
It's a at-home oxygen concentrator. Uses 100 watts of energy, and at a flow setting of 2. Okay, so I'm not sure how much it can concentrate. Technical specs. Here we go.
This one says on a 16-cell battery it lasts 10 hours.
Yeah.
And
this is 5 flow settings from 1 to 5 liters per minute.
Wow, that's a lot. Well, that's the stand-up box unit.
Well, this is pretty small. Like I said, this is only 7 by 13 by 16.5 inches. So I'm saying this is small. This is something you could probably carry, you know, like a side pack or something like that.
All righty.
Designed for stationary use, but you know, anyways, what I'm still looking for is how much, you know, how much improvement it is. It's not telling me that.
Well, it produces pure oxygen. Well, 98%.
It says oxygen. The one I'm looking at just says oxygen concentrator. It doesn't.
Yeah, that's what these are.
It doesn't tell me how
It's not
much. So, anyways, okay. Right. So it looks like basically like a one of those air filters you use in a room. It's not really telling me how much. Okay, anyways, so I'm saying is that I think that for individual use, you're going to need an oxygen bottle, just like you would if you were climbing to the top of Everest or something like that. But as far as, and you could, and the air that, you know, if you just want regular air, okay, you can easily go and take a oxygen, you know, a pump to basically recharge a bottle with just air, okay? Which, you know, so you'd basically be breathing sea level air, because a lot of people have trouble breathing pure oxygen or anything like that, you know, so it just won't last as long as if you had a pure oxygen. That's all.
Right. And you shouldn't breathe pure oxygen.
Yeah. Now, if we are using an oxygen tank, you just take the air and you'd supplement it with oxygen and maybe reduce the pressure after you do that, but you wouldn't need as much as, you know, if you actually have no oxygen at all.
When you dive, okay, first of all, there's 2 things. When you're scuba diving, one thing is you're breathing air. You're not breathing oxygen.
Yes.
They are air tanks. Now, as you go deeper and the pressure increases, oxygen is a problem because it becomes poisonous to us under pressure. So we actually breathe nitrogen tanks instead of air, because air becomes lethal at, I forget how many atmospheres, but it doesn't sound like the air pressure is like we're 30 feet underwater or 40 feet underwater. So, but if you're at 60 feet underwater and you're breathing air, you're going to get oxygen bubbles in your blood and die. You'll get
you're talking
You
about
mean
the
nitrogen?
No, you'll get oxygen bubbles as well.
Okay.
It all depends on the pressure.
At
Okay.
300 feet, you start suffering from nitrogen narcosis underwater.
Okay,
Right.
but anyway, though, what we actually need on this world would be what?
Just
here?
supplemental air.
You just need
Essentially.
basically some supplemental oxygen to mix in with the air you're breathing.
Right.
Because you remember, it's cold. You're going to probably want something that warms up the air a little bit too, so
Yeah.
you're not breathing, because the temperature of the air seems to be, like negative 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my CPAP that I wear at night has warm, moist air because you add water to it, and it allows you to breathe better at night.
Now, there's also a question of not the air, but like just since this is since these buildings are unused, could there be like some like great disaster like there was on the world with the stuff falling from the sky?
There
That's
could be.
why these buildings
We don't
are
know for sure
unused?
that these buildings are unused. They only monitored it for a short period of time. So,
I mean, they're boarded up and the lights are off.
well, not everybody has electricity, so
Yeah, but
It
then they
kinda
wouldn't have
depends.
lights at all.
but they might. We had gas lights in the past. You would kind of know about that. And we also have
But
coal.
gas lights wouldn't be on though, if there's nobody there.
I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to go find out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go brave the cold
Well,
and find out.
Now, I think we should leave the ambulance behind for this trip and just take the Summers and some snowmobiles.
Also, another thing I'd
Okay.
like to do,
But we definitely do want to bring some drones with us. So
when they sent through the windup, it took a picture, to take a picture including the ground.
Yeah, that's why you were able to see things. I mean, it basically took some samples, and it was snow that it was sampling up. It didn't get soil.
Okay, so, but looking at the ground, like, did it look like suspiciously flat, like the portal is on top of a frozen lake, and as soon as you step out of the portal, you're gonna fall in?
As you saw, one of the pictures that was listed looks somewhat like there might be a frozen lake nearby. If you look at the pictures,
You get let
but
out.
mostly it looked like it was pretty. It looked like it was pretty flat. Otherwise,
You get let out onto a roof one time.
Yeah, now, if you're in an environment suit and you get, and you fall into a frozen lake and you throw you shoot like a rope back up through the portal, will it pull you without like getting it stuck on something and tearing, or?
I would assume so, unless you're unlucky.
Okay. Basically, I think we need to be prepared for that kind of stuff. So,
we get Chen Wei some water wings
Yeah,
for his hazmat, for his environmental suit.
absolutely.
You could get them those waders that they use whenever they go fly fishing.
Yeah.
He could wear that. Could wear that over his environmental suit.
Those
They-
suck
they-
when they get full of water, though.
they gotta be neon yellow. Just so we know where he is.
Are you sure you want to do that? I mean,
I fell over in chest waders.
I
once
let
and
you
filled up
guys
with water.
choose what color you want your environmental suits to be.
Oh,
I would assume like neutral
joking.
color, and because
Neutral is usually based upon the environment.
Gray,
It looks pretty
You know why
snowy right now, so
You know why
you
I'm
could go
saying
white, you could go brown.
gray,
We're just gonna wear the regular environmental suit, and we can
Yeah.
get white pullovers for them.
You know why
certainly
I'm
can.
saying yellow, Ken, right?
You're a mean woman.
I never said I was nice.
No, I don't think so.
I never said I was nice. Anyway.
So we'll get some baggy white camouflage for our environment suits. Anyway.
Okay.
And those
I always
jackets,
assumed they were like spacesuits. They were like just like
they are.
whitish or grayish.
Well, you can get other colors of spacesuits.
Yeah.
But
I mean, ask Katy Perry.
I've
She
given
went to
you
space.
pictures of what they look like before, Ken.
all right.
So I mean, they vary. You know, some of them are red, you know, for hazardous situations. Some of them are, you know, are more.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that the explorers use tend to be more toward the more toward the forest green, yeah,
Dirt color.
or sandy brown, yellowish brown for desert. Just depends on the environment you're going through.
Okay, now Bruce, you said that the previous group sent through like some flares so they could take pictures and stuff.
I said that the survey team did that. The last thing they did was to send up some flares on the windup so that they could get some pictures that weren't going to be just, you know, infrared, you know, stuff.
Okay, so it's possible the people here have seen it and may have reacted in strange ways.
Yes, it's possible that this was seen. That's why it was the last thing they did.
Anybody need anything else?
I should be all right.
Anybody, you know, put some hot cocoa.
Half a sense of sanity.
I already have
Got
that.
it, hot cocoa.
Anybody,
Okay.
anybody I'm sorry, milk intolerant, dairy intolerant.
We can get the non-dairy powdered shit.
There you go.
That sounds terrible.
It is.
It does. It is.
It
Okay.
sucks.
Besides, there's cocoa in
All
there,
right.
Marie. Just eat that.
So you guys are all parked outside the portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We'll spare you the trip there and check
And we don't want to immediately take the vehicle in because, you know, if it is a pond, the vehicles.
Yeah, Ken, just say what your character does.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll tell the party. I think we should walk through, confirm it's solid ground before we take any heavy vehicle through.
Head on.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
See you in a couple
Okay.
of days, Chenway.
I was just going to Leroy Jenkins through the portal, but
Oh, all right. Yes, I understand that,
You're just
Reverend.
gonna what?
Go for it.
Leroy Jenkins.
No.
Who's that? Who's that? Like a sports star?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
what did he do?
He's a sport, all right.
Jason, why you bewilder this poor man so?
Because it's
fun
easy.
to mess with.
Okay. So we wait for Chenway to go through.
So Chen Wei, you heading through?
36 hours later.
Yes, I'm heading through, and I'm heading through with, you know, the thing where you can shoot a rope back through the portal.
All right. So you're gonna have
Your hand.
you're gonna have a
Grapple gun?
A 50-foot.
Yeah, grapple gun, yeah.
Thank you. You're
Yes.
gonna have a grapple gun ready to shoot back through the portal. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
Okay. So you get up to the portal.
I'm going to back away from the portal.
Tell me what you do.
I step through the portal,
You
and if
step
I
through
fall
the portal.
through any ice or it seems like I'm about to, I shoot the grapple gun.
Okay. You step through. You hear you hear the crunching sound of your boots as you step down onto the very dry ice and such. It is pitch black all around you. You don't see any illumination at all.
Okay.
Does the
Yeah.
portal's rainbow effect put out illumination, or is it
It
just...
does not. You're not even seeing it with your eyes. You shut your
Wow.
eyes, you still see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Use a flashlight,
Actually,
and I
a
know,
psychic phenomenon.
use a flashlight, and I know that there are hand crank flashlights that you use, and we should have those. So
Well,
use
you're
a
going to have to
flashlight.
wait 10
Yes.
minutes for them to start working again, but you can crack a candlelight if you want.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Okay. All right. You crack a
So-
chem light, and you see a pool of. We going for the white, or are you going to go for some other color?
I'll go for the white. Yes.
Okay. You see a pool of white radiance all around you. You know, going out to say 40, 50 feet away from you. You can see in the in the snow, you see what looks to be like some divots or you know, depressions, as if many feet have been through this area. Okay, but now, of course, you know, with wind and everything else, they filled in, so you don't, you know, there might possibly be some treads, but you'd have to go and, like, you know,
Okay.
take a brush or something.
Look down at the ground. See if there's actually ground under the snow. You know, push some of the snow aside.
Okay, so you're gonna start digging.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just a
because
little bit.
initially the snow, you push the snow and you've got ice.
Okay.
All right, so you're gonna start digging through the ice.
Yes.
Okay, so you dig through the ice and see at this location. After you dig down about a foot, you actually come across some what looks to be like, you know, scrubby grass, but sparse.
Okay. I push it. I push a little bit aside and just to look at it.
You do understand that you're basically digging a hole straight down.
Okay.
If you
Okay,
want,
very hard to
you
dig
want a
through.
big area, you're going to have to dig a big area.
Okay. I will go back through the portal, and I tell people, I dug down about a foot, and there's like grass, so I think it's land.
You
Makes
think?
makes sense.
And it also it's possible there could have been people or creatures that walk through here.
How do you know?
Because there's like, you know, depressions and such, or tracks.
All right.
It's sort of unclear because the snow, you know, blows over it, so you
Did
can't
the,
really tell very easily.
Are you eating Oreos? You hideous bastard. I like Oreos. I just had oatmeal cookies though. So, did the survey team go through the portal onto the surface, or no? They just stay on their side of the portal. Then they don't have the most dangerous jobs.
If it had been a clear view and it didn't seem like there was anything around that was dangerous, then they wouldn't have gone.
We have the most not dangerous job. Okay. I'm going to drive through.
All right. We're all riding in the vehicle.
Chen, wait till you get back in the vehicle.
Okay, I'll get back in.
Okay.
Now,
Right.
we do have one of those grapple guns on the back of our vehicle too, right?
Do you?
I don't think so.
Just me.
Fine, equipment token.
No. Oh, you're okay. So, Chen Wei, are you going to be out there ready to fire that thing or something?
I'm saying, like, if we drive through and like things start sinking through, like we shoot this and hopefully it'll pull a vehicle backward and we might not actually fall through the ice.
I'm just saying this is some kind of mechanical linkage you're going to have to set up to make this thing work. So that's why I'm saying is that you like up on top of the vehicle with like cables to hard points on the top or on the sides, and you're ready to fire a gun. Because if you have something that's going to just fire, someone has to be standing there with their hand on a lever in order to pull that and trigger it. You
Okay,
understand what I'm
so
saying?
there really wouldn't be any way to just
I
have
didn't
something
say
that's
there wasn't. I'm
attached
just
to the
saying,
vehicle.
understand this is how it has to work because there's no electricity. Okay, this has to be some kind of a manually activated thing that you do. Are you going to do this? This is your idea.
I hope I will do it, but there should be a way to do it from the inside of the vehicle. I don't
I
want to have to
didn't say you
stand on
couldn't
top.
do it from the inside.
Okay, yes,
You
I'll
can
do
have a
it.
lever that goes through the roof or the side of
Have a
the
lever. I was
vehicle.
thinking like through the back, but
Okay, so you're going to go all, I mean, because you're going to go all the way to the back, where not the trailer, but the back of the actual, vehicle, right?
yes. It would have to be something hooked to the frame,
Summers
so it would.
ATV, and you're going to be back there with your hand on a lever on the back door of this thing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
look
it
out-
should be connected to the
look out the
frame.
back, hoping you can see something, and then just and yank it and trigger this thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a T-shirt cannon with rope.
All right, I see Chen Wei in the back of the vehicle doing something. Chen Wei, what are you doing?
I drive through.
I say I'm hoping that I don't have to use this, but we can shoot a rope back, and like if we suddenly end up sliding down something or something, some couple other weird things happen, it may save our bacon.
Okay.
Bacon sounds good.
Okay, so you drive through, and the ground seems pretty solid. You might hear the sound of some crunching and stuff like that,
Right.
and maybe one of your wheels might drop because of something. Like just let's say the frozen snow might collapse a little bit, but it doesn't. It feels like you're on
Okay.
The foot deep hole that Chen Wei just
That was
dug.
where the wheel dipped in. Yeah, we have now drive through a pothole.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh,
let's
there you
try
go,
the word list. Do we understand either the Ukrainian or Russian word lists?
I
Okay.
don't speak those, so
I do.
We had one.
It is. You're looking at some stuff that looks definitely Cyrillic.
Zarodina.
No, Bruce. The thing is, create word lists before going through, and then look at the piece of paper with the words written down on them and say, do I understand the Russian one? Do I understand the Ukrainian one?
Okay, I would say that.
I mean, I know they're similar languages, but still.
Yeah, both of them don't seem quite like what you're reading. Okay, so I'm saying is that you can recognize the words, but it's not the same as the language that is on the other side.
Okay.
In other words, they may have a different language based on the same roots.
Right.
All right.
So
Go ahead.
and it could be Serbian for all we know,
Yeah.
Right.
It could be
or
Serbian,
Croat.
Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian.
Serbian and Croat are mutually intelligible.
Just because we never test for this.
I'm not saying there are any words you don't understand. I'm just simply saying is that it's clear that there's not a one-to-one relationship between the language,
But it's sort of related, though. You're saying.
and what is, what you're now speaking.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
So
do
Mike
they have a
can-
word for computer?
They have a word for computer.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you should be more interested in the fact that the primary language that you can understand is not Russian or Serbian. Okay, it's Latin.
Interesting.
Using the Cyrillic alphabet.
No,
So we're not. So
Last
then
thing
we're
is
not
that you
actually
can-
able to understand the list of Russian or Ukrainian words any more
That
than we
is
would
correct.
anyway.
that
Okay.
is correct.
Maybe
Yes.
we're in a world where the language of where Russia was never created.
But the architecture looked Russian.
The Cyrillic language. I mean, Russian became the official language of Russia in the 18th century, but they
Right.
originally spoke Indo-European language that was different.
Right.
Your history is better
that
than
was-
mine.
And that was after the Proto-Indo-European language, which was spoken by the Neolithics. So
One.
I'm
all
saying
languages
is
come
that
from that.
Whatever,
So
the primary language on this world does not appear to be Russian.
okay. Maybe
Sorry,
there was a
You
Russia
said
that went
it
away.
seems Latin or similar to Latin.
Yeah, I'm saying is that when you look at your various language sheets, the ones that you have more words that make sense than any others are Latin.
Hmm.
So we can all stand in togas going, bullshit, 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 bullshit.
Sic semper tyrannis.
Bullshit.
So, bullshitist. I'm a stand-up philosopher. Oh, you're a bullshit artist.
Romane
Okay,
ite.
Bruce, the Pax Romana people, they speak Latin, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay, do they have a empire that goes far enough to places that are like this? I mean, I know it wouldn't be the same world, but maybe it's an alternate.
The answer is yes, but they, they would they speak Latin because they enforce their language. The world is their it's not a monoculture, but they are the predominant culture
Right.
on that
Okay.
world.
Right. That's Russia.
I'm saying, would they have like a Russian area where people speak Latin that
But
looks like this?
What you have to remember is that Russia has like 25 languages in Russia.
That is correct.
Just
Maybe-
most of them speak Russian.
Yes. It is like
Predominantly.
the Philippines or India
Right.
or
Right.
China for that matter.
Or China for
Yeah.
that. There's lots of dialects in different languages
Agreed.
because these are all spread out over a large area. So we're really not sure what we're dealing with at this point. But the languages we're speaking is close to Latin or very
Right.
Latin-esque, a Romance
Alright.
language, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems to. I mean, which one of your characters has the linguistics?
That'd be
Uh,
Jason.
That'd be
Okay,
me.
Jason. Jason, make a check. Let's find out how good you are at analyzing this.
I've got
Okay.
it too. I'll make a check as well.
I also speak Latin, so
Oh, that is
Okay.
not a language that I have. Not one of my languages.
Latin, Greek, Spanish, German, Korean, Mandarin, Vietnamese, and Thai.
Hi. Okay, only a 5. Go, Jason. You probably get a plus on this.
I think I do.
All right.
Well, you speak the local language here, so if it's Latin anyway.
Yeah, but he's trying to analyze it,
What language it is.
and unless something is written in the local language, which may be.
Wait. I'm rolling the wrong dice.
Oh no.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Try again.
I rolled a 9.
Nice.
A 9. Okay.
I had a
So,
D12.
Looking over these sheets, like I said, it looks like there's a strong element of Polish, German, Greek, and Latin. So
Wow.
it seems far more egalitarian than the gold, not the golden horde, Pax Romana.
All right.
So it's
Well, that hits two.
basically
That hits
like
my native
Esperanto
language.
for this language. It's their
Right.
version of Esperanto.
Mhm.
So if they do have anything, I'm saying you're basically reading. Yep, most of the Russian and other things you're getting is what you already know because of your language skills.
Mhm.
Okay, it's not from just basically looking at these things and saying, yeah, I can tell that I feel comfortable with these words, like, which is what Ken does.
All right.
But
So you said
you'll find you'll find it a lot better once you actually run into real language, real documents and road signs and things
Sure.
like that.
Okay, well,
okay.
I fire up I guess the lights were already on, the carbide lights.
Okay. You didn't say that, but that makes sense.
Well, we were on the platform, so
Yeah,
I
no,
remember using
the
them,
platform
so.
doesn't need it.
Oh.
Yes.
Right.
I thought you said the pathways and the platforms were all very dim.
Yeah, it's like dusk. Okay, but you
Oh,
can
okay.
see. It's just when you're traveling at 50 miles an hour that it becomes an issue.
Okay.
When
So-
you're on the
Right.
platform itself, it's fine unless you really
Are,
want.
are we going to keep going in the vehicle? Or are we going to deploy the solar generators?
Well, first of all, the solar generators, there's no sun.
It's dark.
Yeah,
Oh,
dark.
sun may come up later.
Get dark.
It's
Okay,
dark.
now
Right.
look in the
Later.
sky, because you said there weren't any stars.
Right.
So
It might have
is
been
there a moon?
overcast.
Okay. All right. Once the flashlights are working again, Bruce,
Okay.
do we see the structures that you
Yes.
posted or okay?
Oh yeah, you can see that with the carbide lamps. If you just
Okay, let's head to
steers
that.
around.
I'm gonna check out one of those structures then.
Well,
Okay.
should we drive over to it, or do you want to walk over there?
I'll just walk over.
Okay, I will get out then and start the generator in the back of the truck to start charging
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
If we
yeah.
waited our 10 minutes, so
As
the spark
always,
plug will actually
priority
work
on
when we
Angel's hearing aids.
full start it.
That's my priority.
Well, we need some night
Yeah.
vision and hearing and
Yep,
communications would be
Okay.
great.
All right.
So-
I have the supplemental oxygen generator as sort of a side pouch, and then I put on my face mask and head out. We're
Just
all
so-
sealed up in the environmental suit.
Just so you're
Okay.
not going alone, I'm going with you.
All right.
We don't need
Okay.
to split. We don't need anybody
All
going
right,
alone.
Angel.
The
All
death
right.
leading the
so-
blind.
So Angel and Mike go walking over to one of the nearby buildings.
Okay.
Yep.
And they're
All right.
attacked by a giant ice monster.
They
Uh,
are not.
Read the temperature.
They're
What's the
attacked by a
temperature
small
of it?
ice monster?
Small ice monster?
It was a fish.
I'll let you know.
We got attacked by a
Temperature,
fish.
Bruce.
A
The
fish.
temperature is like negative 20 degrees centigrade.
Shit.
Woohoo!
Oh,
That's a chilly willy.
It's a brisk day in old Gdansk here. Oh,
It's beautiful summer day in Gdansk.
pretty much. Pretty
Yep.
much.
Bracing, except that you're in an environmental suit, so
Yes.
You don't notice it at all.
Unfortunately.
you don't really feel it.
I'm
All
making
right,
tea.
okay.
You will feel it soon because, like I said, you have
Eventually,
to
you're going to get cold.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Your insulation. I'm assuming you're wearing insulated clothing underneath.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
I got
All
my
right,
long
so-
johns on.
Long johns. Definitely long
Exactly.
johns.
Right. All right. So you
Got a
walk
butt
on
flap.
over and
Okay.
you see this building. It has beautiful scroll work in the wood on the outside.
Mm.
It's
Is
got
it weathered
windows.
like that? Is it gray from the weathering then?
Mm.
Or is it painted?
No, it's gray.
It's gray. Okay.
Right. It appears to be. You see the like there's staining that has eroded somewhat. Okay.
Do we have our electricity back?
Not at the point where they decided to do this. They said they were doing.
I say, hey
He
guys,
said as soon as the pump works. So yeah, electricity is now coming back on.
All right.
okay.
Reminds
Is
me of
there-
old Katowice.
Are there
Right.
any radio broadcasts or other broadcasts?
There might be, Ken, but I think you should wait until I finish talking to Mike and Angel.
Okay,
Okay.
go.
All right. So the windows are they have they're small window panes in wooden frames. Okay. A lot of them have like the what they call rondelles, which are the center of the hand blown window glass. Okay.
Mm.
It looks like there's curtains on the inside. It's a little too dirty and dusty for you to see through them standing right here. Now, maybe if you want to go over and really try to peer inside, you might be able to see more.
Right.
Are you going to walk around these buildings or just walk up and look at them?
Walk all the way around.
Okay.
Right.
It looks like they have
Right.
multiple entrances to them, and there's also some signs. There's like a placard. There's under glass, and you can see writing inside. Okay, and
Okay.
and it's basically It's describing the building. It has a picture of the building, the layout. It's talking about the building. It says, you know, this particular building was from 1480. It was taken from this location in the Russian region, and moved to the museum. He says it's a fine example of certain things. Okay, and he said, please pick up an audio audio recordings or audio tours are available at the museum office. But they've got like some pictures of the layouts of the buildings and things like that.
Mike says, holy shit, we're at Greenfield Village.
What?
Where?
Oh, Greenfield?
Okay. Yes, it is an American tourist attraction where old buildings from all over United States are gathered in one place. Started by Henry Ford, you know.
Weird.
It is in Michigan.
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 Okay.
It's like Menlo Park.
Yes, the Menlo Park is there too.
Just
Okay.
when I think that the states are getting weirder. Says Angel.
Well, that's no shit.
All right.
All right.
So if you go up and peer through the window and shine your light around,
all right,
you will.
Okay, shine light around. Yeah. Okay.
You will be able to see something that looks like that.
Okay. Oh, we have a thing in the chat.
I don't know why
I say
was
over the
expecting a dead
comms.
body.
What are you finding out there? What are you seeing?
We are in the middle of a museum, Chenwei.
Mm.
This building was moved here as part of an exhibit of buildings that were made in 1480.
Oh my God, Gingham.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that that was your reaction, or the fact that we actually are at a museum at night.
Are there's pies?
Okay. All right.
I go into my pocket and use my camera to I haven't charged it up yet. I can't do that yet.
You can take a film.
I signed to Angel to
Polaroid.
take a picture of the sign with her regular camera.
Okay. Polaroid.
Polaroid.
Polaroid for the win.
Yeah, before it gets too cold and the chemicals don't work anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Don't shake it.
Shake it down. Okay.
Don't shake it.
All right.
All right.
Is
So
the building unlocked, or can we go inside, or is it locked?
Okay. Are you going to try to
I'll try to work the handle and see if the
Okay. It does not appear to be does not appear to be open. It could be frozen shut. There does appear to be a modern looking lock on it.
Okay, 20th century lock.
Do you want me to try and pick the lock? You really
No. This building is not meant to be opened, Angel.
Fine.
Well, no, it looks like it is meant to be open, but like I said, the door could be frozen shut with ice.
Okay.
You don't hear.
Might be too cold. You'll have to unbutton you may have to unbutton, and it's damn cold outside.
Not happening. I'm going back. Let's go back.
Okay. Walk, travel back to the vehicle.
Walk, travel.
The warmth of the
We
generator.
share the Polaroid with the party.
Warmth of the generator? What do you mean? The engine's running. We got heat.
We're currently outside, so generator's closest thing at the moment.
I'm nice and warm. I'm sweating, actually.
Holy cow. All right, so we get back into the summers, and we share the information with the party.
So
Are
you
those
think
things in the
tourist
picture?
attraction?
In the picture,
That's
pies?
my thinking. Yes.
Is that a cake or a pie?
Looks like pies to
or
me.
pizza crusts.
Pizza crust.
I don't know.
Could
Maybe
be
it's a-
matzah,
I don't think so.
unleavened bread.
Okay. Then.
So does it actually have a sign, saying, Moscow Museum or something?
We have I gestured to
particular
Angel to show
location,
Chenway the
was-
picture of the sign.
yeah, the sign was talking about the building.
Oh,
And the sign
building,
was in what
okay.
language? The
It
one
was
that we're
in that common language that you know.
Okay.
Okay.
And you said they're similar. It seems to be an amalgamation of Polish, German, Greek, and Latin.
yes.
Okay. All right.
I changed my background to dark snow.
Nice.
And that was the only sign on the building.
That particular building, but there's lots of other buildings if you look around.
Well, next
All
time
right.
wear a coat, man.
All right.
Put on your
Okay.
furry, or your, those coats that have the big furry things around the front. You zip them up,
I have one back
like a
Butt locks?
periscope. Is that what they're called?
Yes.
I always called
Something
them
like that.
I called them periscope coats because when you
Mud
zip them all
flaps.
the way,
Yeah.
they look
We
kinda
always
like
called them mud
periscopes.
flaps because we couldn't say the actual name, the Michigander term for it.
What are they actually called? Mackinaws?
Well, yeah, there is a mat. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, big furry parka.
Yeah,
head
big furry parka. Big furry parka. All right. All right. Once we get enough things recharged, then we will start driving to some of the other buildings.
Okay. One
How
of the
spread out
buildings,
are the buildings?
pretty spread out, actually. There's
Okay.
probably a good 100 feet between each building.
All right.
Like they seem to be. I mean, there might be a road, or maybe there was a road at one point, but it seems like these are intentional. I mean, is it intentionally done? But I'm just saying is that they could have been closer together, but they're not. So it's
So you can get a group of people to walk around them and such.
yeah, there's plenty of room to do that sort of thing. Okay.
All right.
So now what's might be of more interest to you guys is, if I can find it.
The
It looks like there's
thousand-
kind of like a Broadway in between the buildings also.
Yeah.
At least from that one picture. Looks
So
like
you
some of them
see-
are farther away than other ones, but
One of the biggest buildings seems to be this one.
the
oh.
Boop Scoot. Oh yeah, the church.
Oh, very nice.
Well, we have another view of it from the outside. It's like different angles of it. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's got boards missing.
It's got words missing.
Board. It
Oh,
looks like it
nice.
has a chunk of it or something.
I thought you said words.
All right.
No, it doesn't. No, not words. Board is.
Nah.
Board did.
So we'll
Okay.
kind of slowly drive by the buildings and see if there's signs on other ones.
Get out a pair of binoculars and look at the farther away ones and see if they have signs.
Sounds good.
I'll use a spotlight to aim towards one side, use a spotlight on the other side to aim towards the other side, and we'll just kind of drive
Also,
down.
I take it there's no moon.
You see no light in the sky at all.
Does it look like it's maybe clouded or just like completely solid black?
I don't know if it's cloudy or bright.
It seems solid black.
All right.
It's blacker than black, actually.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
Vanderbilt.
it's black like the dark was black.
Mm.
Well.
All right. Okay. Do we see
But
any more
if you want
signs?
to do some kind of scientific analysis, you let me know.
Yes. Let's get to the middle of town and do some scientific stuff.
Okay.
We're gonna science now.
You can in some of these pictures you can see there's all kinds of interesting scroll work and things like that. But everything about this place looks like it's no longer in use.
Well, it's like it was set up as a tourist attraction of some sort, and then
maybe
abandoned.
One is actually listed as the wedding, the wedding night cottage.
Is that the one with the little onion on top?
No, that's actually looks like a church.
No, but there's another smaller building with an onion on top. A single onion. Picture number. The first one's one side of the church. The second one is a really cool house. And then there's another. I think it's the same house, but just from a different angle.
Could be.
And then there's like a log cabin. Then there's the church again. There's this other one after the. I guess it would be the third picture. I don't know. It's hard to say which direction we're going. It's got a lady in a blue coat in front of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Is that the wedding house?
Actually, yeah, they got this thing. Just some kind of a some kind of entertainment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It
And
seesaw.
the things they say this the little posters and signs and things like that are in front of each of these buildings on one side or another. You start seeing a kind of a, like if there was a road that these were the ones you'd be most likely to come up, and they are different time periods. They seem to be between about the 1200s to the 1600s.
Okay. Here's some teeter totters. Oh, that's a lovely bed area.
This is the.
Hope you like it close.
Yeah, this is the wedding, the wedding night cabin.
All right.
You're not going to get up to a lot of rumpy pumpy in that bed.
Well, it seems to be very one of the nicer made one. I mean, as far as maintained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Check out that crock.
Yes, some of this is definitely familiar to me.
Mind you of home?
Of touring historical villages, yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you still lived in a place like this.
No. I live in Krakow.
Krakow, 2 direct hits. That little stove is cool. The little hot water boiler. That's kind of cool.
And
water heater.
Say, you keep going around it, and finally you find what appears to be an entranceway to the place.
Oh, good.
Like there's actually, and unfortunately the sign is not going to be correct because it's going to be
something else.
Well, it's going to be something that it's going to be the wrong. It's going to be the wrong language. Is what I'm trying to say.
Uh-oh.
Do I have a picture of that?
But we look at it and it appears to be English because that's what.
Yeah. Well, it basically says that. Oh, here.
Welcome to Never Land. Tomorrowland, or what was the one that used to be in Disneyland? The Frontierland. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But welcome to Frontierland. Yes.
Yes. It says has a sign. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, sorry. Get rid of all the pig things. It says Kostroma Free Settlement.
Kostroma. That looks like a big comfy bed. Check out them boots.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
very
the
nice.
sign that's over the archway into the place. And beyond it, there appears to be, a road.
Okay.
Is
It
the
stretches
word
off in either direction.
is the word okay? Due to my background, Bruce,
Yeah.
is the name Kostroma familiar to me?
Yes.
Okay, go.
Okay, go.
Go. Tell me what I know about it.
You know that because the Kostroma area is basically halfway between Finland and Kazakhstan.
Okay.
It's historically a very old part of Russia.
Okay.
That's pretty much all. That's all I would know to tell you.
Okay. All right. Very good. Kostroma is an actual city in Russia.
Yeah, but it's not near Finland.
It is halfway between the Kazakhstan and Finland.
Halfway between Kazakhstan and
Yes,
It's in the middle of Western Russia.
Yeah,
Yes.
like north of Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
When I had to take the bus to Moscow, we passed Kostroma.
I've never been to Moscow.
It's a lovely
yeah,
place.
I've been to Berlin.
Oh yes.
It looks like 1950 came to stay.
Stayed.
Yeah. They do have McDonald's there, which is good.
Of course they do.
That's about it.
Well,
that's
they
why
don't
we're
ha- I
never
don't
going to
think
go
they
to war
have
with
McDonald's
Russia again,
now.
is
And
because
the
they have
place
McDonald's
makes a
now.
terrific borscht too.
Yeah, all the
Borscht?
Oh yes.
all the cabs they all have one cylinder engines in them.
Would you like to take the lawnmower?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. They go pop, 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 pop.
They do. They do.
Like a tuk-tuk. Are we, when we come out the gate, is our compass working?
Yes.
What direction are we facing coming out of the gate? East, west, north, south. South by southeast.
You're a little bit off from north, but there's definitely there's definitely
a road
north. A magnetic pole.
Okay. Is the road run east-west then?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Let's head west.
Okay. Is there GPS here?
No.
It would require a satellite, my friend.
Well, I just checking.
And you are not receiving any kind of a satellite signal.
Okay. So let's stop here at the gate and do some recce, some readings, see if we can get some radio waves, see if we can find any kind of electromagnetic stuff going on.
I'll set up my frequency scanner.
Okay, and let's launch a drone and send it, around 360 flight path, about a mile out, and just kind of get an idea of the lay of the land.
Sounds good.
We'll set a marker at the gate here, because we should have probably set one at the portal itself, because we can't see the portal. Well, we see it in our head, so we'll just set a marker here so we know where to come back to.
Right. And you can always use the crystal to find the portal too.
But we'll set a radio sign, and then let's launch a weather balloon and see what kind of information we get from that.
All right. Okay.
So I put on my extra layers on top of my environmental suit and my little white snow camouflage, and tromp around out in the snow a little bit.
Yeah, this would be a warm
cold
day down at Hatsumi.
Actually, it's probably very similar to Hatsumi at this temperature.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's very, very polar weather we've got going on.
-4 Fahrenheit for those of you still into those sorts of measurements.
In American?
Yes.
Freedom measurements?
You could say that, sure.
That's what.
And now we'll go to the Gulf of America next.
Right, exactly.
That
Freedom
was
units.
so stupid.
Hey, Still is.
And now we're
No.
going to have some
Yeah,
sauerkraut.
I mean, yeah.
You mean Liberty cabbage? That too. Yeah.
Liberty cabbage.
I've studied my World War One stuff.
The freedom fries. We're not calling them
Yes,
French
we will
anymore.
have the freedom prize next. Okay.
Okay, so
All right. So drone results, weather balloon results.
we'll send up the weather
frequency
balloon and
scanner
then
results.
launch the drone. We'll just send up the larger helicopter one and not the 4-engine one, and the one that's about this big.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
you're going to
caps.
have to provide some kind of positive illumination because,
Yeah,
it's
because
dark.
the infrared isn't working.
Well, I mean, IR is going to come back with an awful lot of cold.
But it will pick up heat things.
Oh,
So
sure.
we will use infrared emitters on the drone to light up an area, I guess.
Okay.
And
All right. So
that way it can pick up
okay.
something.
So there is a road, and there are actually road markers on the road.
Oh, we're at mile number 35.
And but the area around this appears to be there is a river based upon the way the
ice looks.
Which this thing was right at the edge of.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. There was, if you went a certain direction, then it would become very flat. And,
it's a big ass river, isn't it?
uh-huh.
This is actually where Kostroma is.
Right. Anyways, but the surrounding area appears to be predominantly wooded. Now, the one thing you should know is that all the trees are dead, or they're frozen solid.
They're froze dead.
Frozen solid dead. Okay.
Wow.
I mean,
it's been cold for a long time.
Even the pine trees, like the needles just have fallen off.
Well, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Takes a lot to kill a pine tree.
Yeah. So, okay, but I'm saying the surrounding countryside appears to be primarily wooded, rolling hills with an occasional dwelling. No heat sources.
I think we should try looking at a couple of dwellings. If they're assuming they're not museum pieces, they may have things like newspapers or something that might explain what happened here.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll pick one and head to it in a minute. I mean, we're still getting data at this point. Not finding any radio frequencies then, not getting...
No. Not picking up any radio frequencies.
Does the balloon find cloud cover or anything, or does it just go up into the black?
I'm going to say that it probably finds, clouds that are mostly ice crystals and such, high altitude type clouds.
Okay.
But none of the, there's no like liquid water, it's
There's
not
no
like mint.
Precipitative.
Yeah. You're not picking up anything like that. And like I said, I'm assuming the package is looking primarily down, and you're not seeing any kind of light or anything else like that.
It doesn't seem to be an ice age because I don't see glacials like formations, but we could just be too low for glaciers at this point. Well, shite.
So let's try a house.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you travel down the road a ways and find a house.
All right.
All right. The house is not locked.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the doors to the house are open.
Interesting.
There's a lot of stuff that's covered over with a layer of snow. There's there's like trash, garbage, other things like that. It's just, frozen in trash cans and things like that.
If we see any
interesting.
like newspapers or books, like be careful when unfreezing them.
Okay.
Okay.
Inside the house, it looks like it's well, I mean, you see furniture.
Right.
Some of it appears to be missing. There are definitely places on the wall where pictures have been taken. There's cookware of various types in the kitchen, but there's also stuff sitting out on the counters as if it's been abandoned. There's snow because the doors were open. There is snow on the floors near the doors.
Okay.
There's some evidence that that there were some animals that were like nesting in this house, but they're gone.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be any food. That's all gone. It's been taken, except for maybe some things that have been ruined. Things like, maybe things that have expired.
All right.
Okay.
How is the house heated by a fireplace or by a stove?
The house appears to be heated by electricity. It looks like it's purely electrically heated.
That's really interesting. There once was electricity here.
The interesting thing about where we're at, if this is the Volga River, this connected all the way to the Mediterranean, and this is where the Vikings actually came up and down and all the trading and everything, and how we had Vikings in the Byzantine Empire. So,
Hi. All right.
It goes to both, actually, the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So,
well, if people live along rivers in general, if we go
maybe not
south,
here. Yeah, if we go south, it might warm up, but
yeah,
I don't think we want to go north because I picture that just getting a lot worse.
I would not disagree.
You're seeing something from your drone that's very strange. Initially, when you came away from this place, you saw a bunch of, a scattering of houses and buildings. As you move a little further away, like a couple miles away, the number of buildings increases geometrically.
Oh, so like
they're not big buildings, they're right next to each other, and have you ever seen a picture of what the pyramids of Gaza actually look like? If you
Giza.
No.
Giza, where okay, so you have all these beautiful things with those with the sand all around and stuff like that.
And then Egypt, then the city Cairo's like literally there.
And that's what you're seeing. It's
there's like a massive
this
city.
area is surrounded by an intensely urban area.
So this is like a park that we're at.
It's literally a park.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
With the what and the fact that those houses are separated by that kind of a distance might mean something.
Well, maybe my earlier statement is true.
I think you are correct, sir.
We have stumbled onto Russian Greenfield Village.
Is okay. I start pulling up our computer and do a little bit of search about the area. Are we in Central Park?
How would you know?
Well, if we pull up where Kostroma was on Earth,
yeah,
there's a place called Central Park, and it's got a big church in the middle of it, and some buildings, and looks like I don't know. Maybe it might be the same park. I don't know. Off of Maya Street and Sovietskaya Street, and I don't know.
Me neither.
I mean, my brain goes, well, what if it was on Earth? What would this be? And then I look at it and I'm like, oh, well, there's a big ass river and a big reservoir and the city of Kostroma.
Yeah. What it definitely I'm saying is that it's surrounded by things that have a definite Russian cast to the as far as the buildings or things like that. You see little things that make you think of historically. This is correct. You also see, more of those buildings with the onions on the top,
right?
Things like that. But they are right next to each other. This has the kind of urban density that you would expect out of someplace like Japan or one in China,
Shanghai,
Hong Kong.
I take it there's still no heat or light, right?
No,
nope.
You don't see anything like that.
Okay,
Russian cities are generally
let's
not
try
that
a
dense.
building or some buildings. Find one that the door was not open with the wind blowing in.
Okay.
Well, do we think we've gotten quite a bit of information then from what we can for this moment, or
Yes,
we
let's
continue?
explore the.
So we'll recall the drone. The balloon's just on its own. Bye.
The balloon slowly, just like
goodbye,
no.
balloon. You'll go a few 100 miles and maybe not. I don't know. Depends. They've sent a weather balloon all the way around the world once, so. And we'll just start exploring with from the warmth of the cab because it's damn cold out there.
Agreed.
And we'll head southeast.
Okay.
I don't want to get into the river yet, but if that's where the river is if the river is to the south, then I want to be careful of that because we don't want to drown Chen Wei.
Not today.
Not yet.
Well, it could just be frozen too.
I know.
We can always drown one.
I'm using that as a guide of kind of where we're at. So if I know that if it's to my right, then we're going the right direction. Let's put it that way.
All right.
We could always drown Chen Wei's collection of pens.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right.
I think Chen Wei ought to blow their minds and give them a typewriter instead.
Oh, that one.
The old ribbon typewriters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Learned how to type on one of those. Manual.
Yeah, old manual typewriter. Okay, so we drive. I mean, when you say it's built up, is it like a neighborhood, like a bunch of houses across the street from each other, and
it's more like
side streets? And...
It's more like industrial apartments, like concrete.
Okay.
Like steel with maybe businesses at the bottom and then like 4 or 5 stories worth of apartments.
Okay.
Yes, I've lived in places like this.
Baltimore. All right. Well, what do you? I mean, if you guys see a building that you want to check out, tell me and I'll stop.
Okay.
Any building with a closed door.
Okay. Well, there's plenty of those. Okay. One of the things that's interesting to you, I would think, is the fact is that the streets are very narrow, and there are what looks to be either maybe streetcar tracks in them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they have a streetcars, huh?
So that puts us someplace around 1900.
Maybe.
There's no cars, but
there's no automobiles on the road or anything.
No,
there's electricity.
What?
All right. So do we find any of the lampposts?
Yes.
Let's stop and look at a lamppost.
All right.
I mean,
Okay.
that's going to give us a technology level at least. Is there like an electric bulb in it? Is it a gas light? Is it a...
It looks like it's some kind of a sodium
vapor lamp?
vapor
So
lamp.
electric.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely electric.
Nice orange glow.
Do they have a word for radio?
Yes.
Okay. Do they have a word for television?
No.
What about
Okay.
automobile?
No.
All right.
Carriage?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to a larger, what, maybe a municipal building or something.
All
Okay.
right. That could help.
I'm going to look for like something that looks like a municipal building of some sort. Fire department,
Okay.
police department, city hall. I mean, is there anything that's above?
City Hall would be good.
Yeah, I mean, is there? Can we kind of guesstimate where something would be? I guess we can't see that far, so.
Yeah. One of the problems you're having is a lot of the signage on the outside has been eroded by,
Right.
but basically by frozen snow.
Interesting.
But you do find something that looks an awful lot like a firehouse.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's stop there and check it out.
Sounds good.
Okay. You see that some of those streetcar tracks go right into the firehouse.
Interesting.
Hmm.
What an interesting setup. I mean, you can't obviously if you don't live on the tracks, your house is burning down.
Well, it looks an awful lot like everybody's house is on the tracks.
Oh, really? So all the roadways are actually trackways.
Yes.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. See, yeah. Once it's
Never seen that in a society before.
Hmm.
yeah. It's anyways the
Mike signals to Angel to take pictures.
All
Well,
right.
yeah. I mean, we should all be recording on our individual units.
all right.
Yes.
So
Let's go up to the fire building and pop
Okay.
a door.
all right.
Sounds good.
Grab a
Yeah,
pry bar or something and
Yeah, it is locked, but you can bust in easily.
I could always just
Okay.
pick the lock.
what's the fun in that?
Yeah.
No property
Uh,
damage.
They can send me a bill. I'm okay.
Yeah, there are racks and racks of what looks to be like air supply cylinder type things.
Do they have like pumps on them for pushing water, like the old style fire extinguishers did?
No, I'm saying is it looks like like police
Breathing
like firemen
apparatus.
have air
Right.
tanks and stuff.
Right.
They've got racks
Okay.
and racks of those things, but they're all empty. Okay. There's they also have they have some vehicles in here. Like I said, they're basically like streetcars, but they're firefighting. They have like tanks inside them that are frozen solid with water. They've got they seem to run off of a large battery pack of something. And there are plenty of terminals for like plugging them into things. It looks like all the power is underground.
So they are electric motors on them?
Oh yeah, definitely electric
Okay.
motors, definitely some kind of, because you don't see like in the area festooned with wires and things like that, like old timey things. It's like,
Right.
and nor does it look like they get power from like dragging it right out of the rails. Okay. Now the rails themselves are kind of interesting because you notice they're not they're not really corroded. They're only lightly is the right term.
Oxidized?
Yes, very lightly oxidized.
Okay.
Do we have a cutter? We have that laser cutter, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
How long does it take to charge that?
quite a while, but you can run it off of
Okay, let's take
a
a sample
powerful
of the
enough
track.
source.
Let's take a sample of cut a small section of track off, and that way we can bring it back and have it analyzed.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not knowing of any metal that, well, gold doesn't oxidize, but
No.
Stainless steel.
yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't. Is it magnetic?
It is not magnetic.
Okay, so it could be stainless steel, high nickel content.
Aluminum.
Aluminum isn't magnetic, but it oxidizes pretty heavily.
Yeah, aluminum you see oxidation.
Thick gray
Well,
oxidation.
aluminum naturally is protected by the microscopic oxidation layer, so it doesn't like go away. Now, if you have aluminum connected to some other metal, because of
I don't think straight aluminum would actually support much weight unless it's, well, I mean, if it's a track thickness, it might. It depends. I mean, I'm not a metallurgist.
No.
Is that a word?
It is a word.
So for me, it's metal. I know a little bit about it, but not much. So we'll just hack off a piece, and does it melt like aluminum or steel or?
That's a heck of a lot of. I mean, you can melt it if you get it into a place you could do that.
Well, we're using a laser cutter to cut it, so I'm just wondering how it cuts. Is it difficult to cut?
No, I mean it cuts hard. It's a lot harder to cut than, let's say, aluminum would.
Okay.
But it seems to cut clean, not blobby like aluminum would.
Right. And not melting as fast.
And
So
aluminum,
it could be,
as Ken was mentioning, is it would get a patina on it.
Right.
That would protect the aluminum underneath of it from oxidizing, but you could scrape it off.
Right.
And see the aluminum underneath it. This doesn't seem to be like that.
okay, so this could theoretically be like stainless steel if it's in a non-magnetic version.
It could be stainless steel, or it could be some other alloy.
Some other alloy. That's what I'm curious about, and I'm sure IDET would be interested in it.
Yes.
So anyway, inside this place, there's a lot of stuff like the tanks. But is there any written material anywhere?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of written material.
I'm interested in checking out the electric motors on the carts.
Okay.
Are they? Do they seem like normal electric motors, or are they different technology electric motors?
They seem like 20th century electric motors.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And there is a whole lot of manuals in here, that are printed out on some kind of. Some of them are printed out on paper. Okay, the oldest ones are. Then there's ones that are newer, but they were printed on plastic, it looks like, but then that stuff has degraded.
The plastic did?
The plastic degraded.
Degrading? Wow.
Yeah, as if something, either
Plastic
does break down eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually, yes.
So who knows how long?
But,
okay, so to look at, or rather, I'll ask you science guys, can you look at some pieces of plastic stuff that we have to make sure there isn't some microscopic, worms eating it away?
I don't
do
know.
you have holes in the bottom of your suits?
I don't.
Well,
know
I was hoping to head off that kind of thing.
I did read something in Scientific America that they developed bacterium that could eat plastic. That's how they're going to solve the big morass in the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
We have a microscope. We could look at the plastic if we wanted to.
Bag a sample.
All right.
Right, but I meant look at our plastic, the plastic stuff that we brought, to make sure there isn't something in this world eating it away.
Make sure you don't have virus, whatever it was, plastic eater.
Well, I
I
do
think it was
feel
like
that half
Mutant
of my
53.
half of my artificial arm is gone, Chen Wei. I can't explain it really. I am joking. I am making joke.
Okay. There is what looks to be a computer terminal in one office, which is basically says Captain.
Very interesting.
It
Okay.
says
There are speakers
Commissar.
in other places that look like they're slaved into something. I mean, it all depends on how much you want to really dig into the electronics and things of this building. As I said, everything in this building, I mean, there's water, there's sewage, there's electricity, there's no indication of use of coal, there's no indication of use of gas. There's
Very interesting.
I bet they use reactors. They have some sort of nuclear reactor somewhere that they get their power from.
The clothing itself looks to be made of some kind of a natural fiber, like their uniforms, except where they've been impregnated with chemicals of various types for, protection purposes. There's glass. Like I said, there is rubber of some type, but that appears to be degraded. The place is freezing cold again. It's the same temperature. It's not warmer on the inside than on the outside.
All right.
Okay.
So there's
and there are, but the pipes in the place are not exploded or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now there's no. You said there is electricity in the building, or it's wired for electricity.
Oh, well, it's wired for electricity, but there's no power running through the building.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought you said. All right.
Okay, I look at the science guys, I say, gonna look at the plastic.
All right. We gathered some plastic. I'll put one on a slide and take a look through the microscope.
So say
Okay.
say science guys one more time, and I will start singing Bill Nye the Science Guy every time you do.
Bill.
Please, I will.
And now it's time for another episode of Ask Dr. Science. Here's
I'm
Dr.
the
Science.
wizard of speed and time. The world's out of magic is where I shine. I've got magic to make you see the world you want and want to be. On imagination's silver screen, I can help you find your dreams.
And now let's take a question from the audience. Dear Dr. Science, do whales fart?
Yes, they do.
Oh, yes, they do.
Especially when
they
they
do.
die.
Okay, I rolled a 5 on my science roll.
Okay.
Do whales fart? Yes.
Like I said, overall the impression you're getting is that this place was left in good condition and it is simply degraded over time. Like this place is not a museum; it's just disused.
Is there wood furniture in here?
I would say no.
Okay.
There's no sign of.
But there are
virus.
a few plaques
It's
in
just
here.
old.
Wooden plaques?
that are fairly old. I mean, you see.
I'm going to take
like,
one.
You see things. Basically, you see like Captain so and so going back at least 100 years.
What year is the last plate?
The last plate says 2016.
Interesting. I'm going to take the plaque.
That's only a couple years ago.
And they have computers, so
Yes.
Do they?
yes.
Yeah, there's a computer terminal at least, and something
they
that looks an awful lot like a
Don't
keyboard.
have televisions.
No, they don't have, but they do have speakers.
All right.
That's interesting that they would develop a computer monitor but not a television.
Okay, I mean, this may sound strange, but is there a word for computer in their language?
I'll say yes.
Okay. Because I was thinking like maybe the surviving people don't know what a computer or a television is, even though they used to have them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a possibility. I mean,
That's why
there's been a lot of terms for computers.
that's
like
true. Computer
encapsulators.
was an abacus, yeah. So
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I'm going a little
person
bit
that
more.
who
I'm
did
talking
computing.
about there, in the history of computing, what we call computers, they may not have, but they
Yeah.
may have something closer to mainframes and other things
Right.
like that.
All right.
those giant 8K mainframes.
Is there
Oh,
any
yes, definitely.
written
Remember them well.
material that's, not like technical, like a newspaper or a magazine?
Um,
Or a log, a journal of any sort.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
a good one.
okay, there's probably some logs, okay, but things like newspapers and things like that, you don't this place, is not, like I said, it looks like it's been abandoned, but not like a disaster, not like people fled the place. It looks like
Right.
they simply shut it down
And
and
left.
left it.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, everything in the city you're seeing looks like a place that gets shut down for the winter. Like a summer resort.
Mhm.
They
Interesting.
just they go and
Closed
they
up and you leave. Yeah.
lock the doors and stuff like that. Everything's
Or like-
in its place.
Like ski resorts used to be during the summertime. They just close
Right.
them up.
The
Now they
human
all started
migratory
out-
condition.
Yeah, before
Right.
they started having horseback rides instead.
And mountain biking
Interesting.
and all sorts of stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
They figured out, hey, we can make people go up to the top of the mountain during the
Well,
summertime.
What
right.
we could
It's
do,
careless work in the summertime.
we could try to find what the power source for this place was and
Well,
see
let's
if we can
track-
turn it back on.
I don't know if that'll
After
happen, but
After,
Well, I don't
at
know.
least decades, it's probably not going to work.
Well,
it could be
well,
hundreds
one
of
way to-
years. We don't even
well,
know how long what
Or-
time frame it is currently.
Or
so.
what we could do is take one of our generators, use it to power up the computer, and see if we get anywhere.
So did the logbook say anything, like ice age coming or, meteor coming or something like that?
Yeah, Ice Age
Uh,
coming. Super Friends, no help. Yeah.
The logbooks say things like 3-alarm, 4-alarm, various types of fires, people taken to hospital. They're basically operational logs.
So-
rosters of people working there. The firefighters.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So-
we would probably want to find a different kind of building then.
Building off of what Chen Wei said, how is the computer connected to the power source?
It's basically plugged into. It's literally wired down into the floor.
Okay.
And there's a cable, which is probably a data cable, which also is going down
Okay.
into the floor.
Can I access the body of the computer? Like
Can
open
you
it up?
take it apart?
Yeah. Can I open it and look inside it?
You can. Give me a luck check.
A luck or a repair?
Yeah. Luck.
Okay. Luck is just D6, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, I rolled a 6.
Okay. All right. They seem it follows some kind of nut standard that your tools work with easily.
Well, I was going to have Mike use his mechanical arm thing if necessarily, but
Yeah.
if it's just like
I can do
a
that if you want.
Yeah. Well,
Well, we can just unscrew it,
if
too.
it hadn't, if you'd rolled too low, then you would have had to do something like glue, like a nut driver onto it in order for you to be able to turn the screws
Right.
and things like that.
So we'll just
So
lift it
no,
off.
yes, you can take it apart.
Okay, we take it apart
Okay.
and I look inside. Can I figure out how much power it used?
Okay.
I mean, most computers have have the power supply, which knocks it all down to 12 to
Yeah.
5 to
Yes,
2.5.
It looks
volts.
like it used as much power as like a 1950s television.
Oh, so
Okay.
it's 24 volt probably is the highest input, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Does it have tubes or is it solid state?
It has tubes.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
But it also has, it has tubes.
Tube
So-
computer.
Can I figure out how much
But
reading it,
but
how much
it doesn't
voltage
have
it took?
integrated circuits, but it does have things like capacitors
Uh-huh.
and resistors and things like that.
Right.
All
Can
right.
I figure
not a
out how
problem.
much power we would need to send into it?
Well,
Make it
like I said,
power
it
up.
probably uses around maybe 5 amps.
Okay.
Well, let's grab the computer and take it with us.
The terminal.
You're if we do that, Jason, we'll have to disconnect it from its connection to their internet or their mainframe, and it'll just be a dumb terminal.
Not necessarily. Does it
Oh,
look like it has hard disk storage, or is it?
No,
Oh,
no, it
so
does
is
look
just
like a dumb terminal.
It is a dumb terminal. It's
a dumb
just-
terminal. Okay.
All
All
Well, then
right.
we would have to power up the mainframe, so that this would do us no good. Other
All
than the
right.
fact that this would be an oddity and they could look at it.
Yes.
Remember, they bitched about us not bringing back any technology, so here's
I
what they
could-
get.
Given time, I could build this.
Yeah, I mean, with that and a Radio Shack, if they still existed,
Sure. With the stuff I've got in my toolkit, I could build this.
probably.
Okay.
Probably build a bit more powerful one, honestly.
All right. Well,
Um,
we'll have to find out where the mainframe is, I guess.
Oh, Bruce, you never did tell me if you wanted that RAM stick that I have.
I don't know. I don't remember this question, so I'll say sure.
Back when you were saying your laptop only had 6 gigs or something like that, I have a 4 gig DDR3.
Oh, yeah,
chip.
you're welcome to send it to me. I don't know if it's compatible or not.
Oh, it should be. If it's DDR3, it will be.
Very good.
They're pretty standard. I have one.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. I also have a hard drive if you want it. 500 gigabyte hard drive.
There you go.
So yeah, just ping me your address and I'll throw it in an envelope,
Okay.
added envelope, and send it out.
Yeah,
I've got.
I sold 3 video cards today.
You sold 3 video cards?
Yeah.
Nice. I found an old computer too in my trailer of stuff.
Oh wow.
So
That's people were getting for a while there. People were donating all their crappy old computers, and so some of them had video cards in them.
Right.
So after
Oh,
I
okay.
took everything out and sold the computers themselves, now I'm selling the video cards.
Well, I was thinking about building
okay.
a Windows 98 machine just for the fun of it. So
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing is that you're probably looking. I mean, you can put Windows 98 in a lot of different computers.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, but a true Windows 98 machine was on an ISA board.
Mhm.
Okay, not a PCI, which is what they
Right.
all are now.
Right.
And and therefore all the video cards and things like that are
They're all-
not compatible with the later things.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
they still have some ports, not all of
Yeah.
them. I mean, the biggest change was the switch to SATA not having any IDE port connections.
Mhm.
Right.
The new boards don't have any IDE
I got-
on them at all.
Right. Oh, I know. You have to use some kind of
You have to use
an
SATA.
adapter. Yeah.
Right.
I have a ton of IDE
Yeah.
hard drives.
Drives.
I
So do
use.
I. I do too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, God, this would be nice. I actually bought an enclosure for one just for the hell of it. I don't know why. But
Okay.
anyhow.
All right.
Yeah, I do have a chip for you if you want to go up to 8 gig. I mean, you said you couldn't go any faster than that, so.
Yeah. The most it can take is 8 gig. It's currently got 6.
Right.
You know,
Well, I'll send
and-
that out. That's not a problem.
Yeah. It's a 2 and a 4, and I'm hoping that the 2 is the one that's easy to get to, because because if
They're not stacked like this.
no, there's one, and then there's a one on the other side of the
Oh
motherboard.
shit!
So I'm saying that if this one's the 2 gig, then yes, I will definitely be glad to take that. But if it's the other, then no, I'm
Well,
not
did
taking.
you add the 2 gig?
It came that way when I
Oh,
bought
it did. Okay. Okay.
It was probably, the price point,
Mm-hmm.
but you could have increased it up to 8, and
Fair enough.
Okay, so yeah. So, anyways, you look at this. Like all the windows were cleaned. It looks, like I said, everything about the place looks like they,
Closed it up.
they just closed it up. with respect.
Right. Kind of like the way you winterize
everything
your
was put on
trailer
the
and leave it.
shelves. All the equipment, the boots were put up back on the shelves and stuff like that. The train. They say the.
Does any of this look like it was cold weather gear, or is the cold? Do we look like it like normal temperatures, and then it got really cold?
There is some, but the tracks themselves, there's nothing about the tracks that makes you think that they would be heated. Now maybe they just hit them with electric blowers or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they would take electrical, not
Right.
heating the tracks themselves up.
I was thinking more of their equipment, the boots and stuff. Or they look like cold weather boots, or are they just regular boots?
They just look like regular boots.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the cold came after they closed up.
Sure. Bruce, have we seen any streetcars?
Well, like I said, this what they're using as their fire truck is a streetcar.
Okay.
Right, but have we seen any
you
like
haven't seen any
passenger
streetcars on the streets? No.
Okay, they're all parked.
So
Streets are empty.
Let's go to a residential location.
They're all residential locations. I said you have these things at the bottom, and then above it you have like 6 or 8 stories of apartments.
Okay, so it's like a New York style where they have all the shops and stuff.
Yeah.
Commercial below and housing above.
And the height of the building, it probably has a lot to do with how well they can deal with fire. Because most fire trucks normally can't force water up above a certain height.
Agreed.
3 stories.
They have to have pumps built into the buildings themselves to do that.
So are there a lot of fire buildings, or is it just we happen to have run into one?
Oh, they're probably spread out throughout the district.
You're going to have to just do more of a survey to find the answer to that question, Ken.
Okay, so now we're going to let's do for fun. Instead of heading south, we'll head deeper into the city.
Mm-hmm.
And see what we see as far as now. Are they all apartments, or are there any like single family homes, or like duplexes or fourplexes? Or they're all apartments.
They are all apartments on top of businesses.
No matter where we go, it's that way.
Once you got into the urban area, it was that way.
Wow, they were stacked in like sardines. They
really are.
800,000 people here. Well, then let's just pick one apartment building then. Look for a nicer one, I guess, a nicer area.
Okay.
Like maybe one that's got parks around it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And check that out. Is there a garage entry with tracks leading up to it or anything?
There are, you'll find a school, and the school has its own little bus depot to it, which is a smaller streetcars. So it's like the school. So it looks like that people get picked up and brought to the school if necessary, or go to various maybe on trips or something.
Mm-hmm. Does the track gauge change, or is it all the same?
It's exactly the same. It's very uniform.
We wouldn't know about what size of car then, since we haven't seen any other ones.
Well, like I said, you saw you see the school buses, which are streetcars.
There are school buses. Okay.
Yeah, I said they had their own little thing.
Their own little depot.
Yeah, they're a little depot with with a couple of school buses in it.
What about-
they go out onto the tracks?
Do the apartment buildings have depots in front of them, or is there like a kiosk that they go to collect at, or?
It looks like the apartment buildings have areas in front where things can be loaded and unloaded, like a sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
All
But
right.
otherwise, there's no street other than the streetcar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go into an upscale looking area. Like I said, the way I define upscale is that there's a park ground nearby it or something, or a feature that would make